Hey guys, Abner Miranda here. I know that one of the questions that gets bounced around every once in a while on the internet is Glock 19 versus Glock 17 or Glock 17 versus 19. I will tell you right off the bat, I used to be a Glock 17 aficionado. I am now a Glock 19 aficionado, and here's why. If you live with a gun, for real live with a gun, then you very quickly find out that a Glock 19 is the better choice. The 19 is shorter, not only in barrel but also in grip. It hides better, most especially in appendix carry. I'm carrying mine in a Bravo Concealment drop out of sight torsion, which slightly bends the gun in toward the body and does a great job of being concealed. We're roughly at 8 yards right now, and this is a distance that is part of the handgun combatives box drill. That is my favorite drill. If there's one drill that you're going to do, this is the drill that you should do on a very small target. The reason for that is everything that is required to survive in a gunfight is in this drill. Move, stop, stabilize, shoot, move. I do this drill both with 19s and with 17s, but when I do it with a 17, I'm actually running the 17 in something like the GS17, or in this case, the KPOS Scout. And that answers a question that I know that some of you have is, well, do I do 17s anymore? Well, not really. And that's the beauty of doing a video like this. I'm not really beholden to anybody. I'm not beholden to Glock. When I get a handgun from Glock, a T&E handgun, I'm actually paying for it. As those of us that are media have the ability to reach out to Glock and have Glock sent to us. I recently sent 2 Glocks right back to Glock. I tested them, liked them fine, finished with them, sent them back. I prefer Glock 19s. When I do run a 17, it's going to be in something like this, because my life, actually, let me put it this way. The simple answer to 19 versus 17, if you are doing counterterrorism, 17. Without hesitation, 17. When I say counterterrorism, I'm referring to direct action counterterrorism. If you're doing work where you have to be clandestine in nature, then Glock 19, because you have to hide in plain sight. There's this constant balance. There is no, this is a gun that does everything. There's no such thing. You have to constantly pick and choose what is the best tool for the job at hand. So right here, if I'm dealing with a threat that is up close, and by the way, guys, at 8 yards, at 8 yards, we're already dealing with a distance that really is bordering on totally unrealistic from the standpoint of not only the private, actually, especially for the private citizen, and also on the very edge of law enforcement. Law enforcement shootings are most often within the distance of a car, okay? It's mostly because you're on a traffic stop, the person goes for a weapon, you backpedal, you draw your sidearm, you cut on them using their own car against them, and you keep backpedaling, or you flat out turn tail and run to use your own car as a blade of cover. For a private citizen standpoint, man, you're talking about a fight that is the distance from me to you. We're talking, if you extend your hand and I extend my hand and we touch our fingers, we're talking 6-7 feet. The reason I like shooting really small targets for these drills is that target down there is, the white portion is just a little bit bigger than a 3x5 card. I'm gonna say that's like 5.5. I'm gonna say it's like 5.5-ish by like, I don't know, 3 3/4, something like that. So it's a little bit bigger than a 3x5 card. The 3x5 card, by the way, if you're wondering, is this area here. It's the heart, the aorta, the pericardium. It's the parts of the heart that you have to wreck to immediately incapacitate someone. You'll notice that I have to pause periodically to kind of hunt that thing down. With a Glock 19, this is already bordering on getting difficult. And mind you, if this were a person that were shooting back at me, or I had to get around cover, around a vehicle, to get shots on this guy, my life starts getting a little on the complicated side, which is why if I'm running a 17, it's going to be in something like this, where I have the ability to have up to 6 points of contact. Shooting hand support hand, shoulder to stock, face to the comb, and then elbow to elbow, elbow to chest wall. Right? I mean, do I need to say anything else? If this were a, in fact, let me just show you right now. If this were just a 17 in my hand, same exact issues exist. If I'm dealing with a 17 or a 19, same exact issues exist. I have to find the sights. I have to stabilize my body. I have to do all the body mechanic things that are required for carrying and employing a handgun, which is why when we're talking about 19 versus 17, 19 is my go-to, 17 for me exists in this kind of setup. For each and every person, you have to make that decision for yourself. How am I going to carry? What am I going to carry? The other determining factor for carrying a handgun, 17 versus 19, is of course the holster that you're carrying it in. For me, it's a drop out of sight torsion from Bravo Concealment. Now I know that some of you are wondering, what in the world is that right there? Okay, well this is a piece of memory foam that I've duct taped to the back of my holster. There's a saying that goes, all holsters suck, some just suck less than others. Like slings, all slings suck, some just suck less than others. I like Bravo Concealment Holsters because they're made properly. They fit well, they retain the weapon well. The reason that I put memory foam on mine is because I'm a big dude, and I find that especially when driving, and I'll cover that in another video, especially when driving, the bottom of the holster tends to want to dig in a little bit onto the inside of the thigh, and it'll really wear you out. The other thing that I should mention is when you run your holster, take that extra clip off. You'll actually save yourself a lot of heartache if you do, because when you're seated, you can do this to your gun, and it alleviates that portion from digging into your leg. So once again, you clip it, and when you're driving, you do that. And that little bit of motion right there, from there to there, makes a world of difference while driving. The foam also keeps the gun, the back of the gun, or the top of the gun, pushed in toward the abdominal wall, which helps it hide in profile. Luckily is, as human beings, we don't tend to look at each other when we're passing one another. We only tend to really eyeball each other when we're walking toward one another. And that's the beauty of appendix carry, it tends to hide, which kind of brings me back around to the question of the 17. If you're appendix carrying a 17, you're suffering. Does not matter how you slice it. Honestly, it does not matter who you are. That extra length of that 17 digging in to your leg is really gonna hurt. And after a long period of time, like I am now beginning to find out after years and years of carrying firearms, it's actually beginning to make my left hip hurt. Part of that is because as a cop I carried here, off duty I carried here. As a private citizen since 2011, I've been carrying either here or here. So the point is, this side of my body is always getting this done to it. Poke, 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 squeeze. There's always something irritating in the left side of my body. So the question, I know that some of you kind of clicked on this video thinking it was going to be one conversation, 17 versus 19, but the fact is, there is no right or wrong answer. There is no quick answer. It is, what is your task at hand? What do you have to carry that weapon in? And what is your mandate? For example, law enforcement, if your mandate is patrol, then yeah, 17 all the way. If your mandate is counterterrorism, definitely 17. If your mandate is as a private citizen, protection of your family, 19. Without hesitation, 19 all the way. As always, I thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out in practice. Have a good one.